Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host, Sean Garmer, here with me, as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And this is episode 443 of the show. And joining us today, Krafty from the Video Game Happy Hour podcast. How are you doing?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me here, Sean, Mark. I appreciate being here. Crafty from the Video Game Happy Hour podcast, like you said. It's fun time being
Awesome
here.
to have you on here. We're going to talk about Doom, the Dark Ages. You've been playing a lot more than me, so definitely going to see what you think about it. I know you're a big Doom fan. We'll talk some more Clair Obscur Expedition 33 as well. Mark is past where I was, heading into Act 3 there. But we'll keep it Krafty's only in Act 1, so we'll keep it very spoiler free. We'll also talk about the gaming news that's going on, Marathon and Bungie continuing to dig a hole for themselves, unfortunately, and also Sony getting some great news with their financials, but then bad news with another one of their studios seemingly not doing well either. We'll talk about some Ubisoft and Square-Enix stuff, and also Nintendo Switch 2 continues to get some more news as we get ever closer to that June 5th launch date for the system. So, and we'll talk about Krafty's gaming journey and also what he thinks about Switch 2 and all that stuff. We'll get into all those things and more right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right, so really quick here, let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. But since you're the guest, Krafty, you want to let people know how they can find you, your show, the Discord, all that stuff.
Or not.
Oh no, I think he's
sorry.
on mute. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I muted because my neighbor is mowing the grass at 8 o'clock at night, apparently. So right outside my window. So I apologize.
I think we can't hear it, so I think you're good on that.
Okay, good. So again, Crafty from the Video Game Happy Hour podcast. So yeah, we do our show. We do it live on Twitch every Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what we do is I'm joined by our co-hosts City, Clicker, James Press Start, Wanda, and Savril. So what we do is we typically have like a guest on every week. And we usually pick a topic. It could be anything like a relevant new game. So like last week we covered Doom. But other weeks we might do like a flashback episode, like what was gaming like in 1995. So we're not like a consistent. Hey, better? Yeah, right. Actually, you know what? 1995 was kind of a rough year, believe it or not, because I know it was a little side tangent here, but it was like right in between where consoles were coming out. So it was kind of like the end, right in between the generations. So 1995 wasn't as good as you'd maybe think it was, but yeah. So we've been doing the show for since about September. So we're relatively new show, and really why we're doing this is to build community. We like chatting about games, so check us out, videogamehappyhour.com, and you can find our links to our podcast, our YouTube channel. We do publish our videos there. And also, we're just trying to build our Discord community to chat about games. Reminisce about how games were better back in the day and what games are coming out and all that stuff. So definitely come check us out, say hi, and love to have you. We do game clubs. For instance, we're doing a Clair Obscur game club right now with the community. So something we got going on.
Yeah, definitely. They did or still going, the Final Fantasy 16 one as well.
Yeah, we do have that. I kind of lost track of that one just because there's so many other things going on with games. So,
and it's a bad game. So,
yeah, that one's definitely controversial for sure. It's been always fun to be part of your community. Getting a lot to talk games with a lot of y'all's folks over there. And of course, I was on the show I think 3 weeks ago now when Clair first came out. So man, fantastic podcast to go listen to. Krafty and the guys have some fantastic thoughts on games, and a lot of shout out to James for not only repping the fact that I reviewed Despolote, but giving Despolote a nice review there on the show last week as well. For so for the most part, I think, except for like when we talk about the Switch 2, a lot of this stuff is Krafty hasn't gotten to talk about it that we're going to talk about in the news from his show last week. So thankfully he won't have to repeat himself too much there. But we always start out with talking about games here, and the big release from this week is Doom: The Dark Ages. Of course, Bethesda id Software title, available on Game Pass. You can also get it on PS5, PC, all that stuff. I know you got the early special edition, Krafty.
Yeah, I did. So I kind of miss having physical games. So I'm a PC gamer, so I don't have, I don't have a collection of games, and I do miss that. And I know I could still pick up like a console game. So I did get the special edition. And I have a little bit of show and tell here. So I know for the audio listeners, you're not going to be able to see this, but I did get the special edition with the Doom. You can check this out, obviously, online, but this statue is phenomenal. The detail is like incredible. I'm not like a huge like into like statues or figures type of person. But I do have, you can kind of see a little bit in the background. I have a couple FromSoft of Melania and, Mesmer, statues, and those are pretty nice, but the Doom one puts it to shame. Got like a nice faux fur cape here, shield with a lot of detail. So I'm just super impressed by this. I mean, it was expensive. I mean, it's $200, but you did get early access to the game. So, I mean, what does that run you these days? Is that $30? Do you know, Sean or Marc?
For Game Pass, yeah, you get it like $30 for Game Pass separate, but then you don't own the game either. So,
right.
Yeah, I assume the game's like 60 or 70.
Yeah, and then the game's 70. So
is it, if you buy the game, is it $30? I didn't check. I mean, because I bought the special edition, $200. You get the statue and you get some other stuff. I didn't pull it off my shelf here, but it's a really cool like Doom key card.
No. Yeah, it's $70.
$70. So yeah, 100. So essentially the statue costs $100, which I really don't regret. It's great, and it's already gone up in value. I think you try to buy it online, it's already worth a lot more. But who knows if that'll hold? But right now that's how I justify it.
Yeah,
just overspending on a game, really. But I enjoy it. So that's one way I can kind of collect, if you will, a piece of gaming, since can't really do that much with PC games.
Yeah.
Do you miss that, Marc? I mean, no, Marc, you're a big physical collector as well. Do you wish sometimes that PC still did?
No, because like the second you use the key code, like, or the CD key, it's worthless.
Right. But I mean, you still get that. I mean, you could get like a manual, I guess, or something.
No, you can't. No, that's a lie.
No.
And also, like, Steam is so good that it effectively did kill the PC physical. You can't, like, it's not like even a console. You can't go into like a GameStop and buy Doom for PC like a CD key or
right.
a DVD or something. Like, it just laughed out of the store.
Hey Q, what's up? Thank you for watching us here. Appreciate that. One of the folks.
I think the last like PC games started kind of going away around like 2005, 2006.
Yeah,
like, physical copies.
Yeah, GameStop was probably one of the last ones to have like the PC ones still in the store, and then I think once they started getting more stock of other games, that went away, obviously.
But even then, it was just like you buy a copy of Sid Meier's Beyond Earth, and it's just like, here's a CD key inside the case. Go activate it on Steam.
I mean, and that's Xbox been doing that for a while too. It's getting very rare nowadays that you actually get the physical game the actual disc, and the disc has now they're even giving you like basically paperweight discs that you get the disc, but it has like nothing on it at all. I think that's the thing with Doom. You
Oh.
technically Xbox has a disc, but it has nothing on it. So essentially, it's a download code.
We can get into this later with Expedition 33.
Yeah. But all right, Krafty, what do you how far are you into the game? I know there's 22 levels, and what do you think of it?
Yeah, so I am in the 6th level. I can't remember what it's called. It's just the one right after the where you I mean, I guess it's a slight spoiler, but not really because it's all part of the initial trailer where you fly. They show in the intro trailer you fly a dragon. So there's a level where you do there's I mean, you can well actually those weren't dragons, those are ships, but so that's where I'm in the game. I really to really get right to the point, I absolutely love this game. And so I think the graphics are incredible. I think that it has I mean it's it they definitely know their stuff. They have performance down very well. So the game runs very well on my PC. Now I do have a pretty beefy PC and it's running very, very good. I also have a PC with some middle of the road specs as well in the living room. So like instead of having console in the living room, I still have a PC in the living room. And so even on like a mediocre PC, it's still running really well. So I got it running at 30 or 60 frames per second at 4K. And I think it's on like the not ultra, but I think one like on high settings.
Yeah.
So the game's performance is pretty well optimized on the PC. Now I will say, which is kind of odd, when you launch the game, it has all these warnings saying if you run this with OBS, if you run this with, like apparently other people are having lots of problems with this game. I had it crash once when I was using OBS to record some stuff, and I was streaming this game one time, and I did not, and it did crash on me one time, but out of the 7 or so hours that I played the game, it hasn't crashed since that. So it seems to be some issue with like OBS. So the gameplay I think is I like where they took this. Did you guys play the first two?
I played the first one and didn't like it.
Okay.
I tried to, but I was like, nope.
Not for you.
What's your history with that? You like both of the first and second, the 2016 and Eternal, or?
I did, and I'm notoriously bad at finishing games. So I'm a gamer that I bounced to. I start too many games and don't get around to finishing a lot of the games, and that's kind of the thing with both these, Doom 2016 and Eternal. 2016, I still would like to finish at some point in someday, but Eternal, I don't think that one to me wasn't my favorite because there's a lot of platforming, a lot of like running and jumping, and I just don't. A first person game, I don't know. Like for me, why are we platforming in a first person game? To me, it's.
Should play Turok Dinosaur Hunter sometime.
I played it like way back in the day. I played it and I didn't. I stunk at it and I didn't get very far. But
right.
But so that's my history. I've played both. 2016 is my preference over Eternal. I thought that they both were really well done. But this one is my favorite out of the three, just because the gameplay. It is a first-person shooter, but also the cool thing about this game is that there's a melee system. It definitely leans into melee, not only with you get a gauntlet, so that's like one of the weapons you unlock pretty early on, and of course you've seen the trailers. You unlock a flail, so that's a big part of the melee combat, and also there's like a parry system in the game. So a lot of the enemies they'll either come at you with a melee attack or they'll come at you with like a parryable and blockable projectile attack. So you can block it with your shield and you essentially parry it and then you counterattack those those attacks. So I think that's like a really cool mechanic. And not only that, but your shield is very engaging. So you're using your shield. You can throw your shield at enemies. You can block things. You can target onto an enemy and then lunge at enemies with the shield. And it's just fun because you're kind of juggling all these different mechanics. Not only shooting things, and the weapon, it's got really a really cool weapon variety. And again, like one of the guns, you know, in the and again, just something in the regular trailers or previews is a gun that kind of takes skulls, grinds them, and then shoots them out. So like it's just cool. It's just a fun, mindless, aggressive, just run around and shoot things. You just feel like a complete badass because you're just running around and you're parrying, you're meleeing, you're shooting, you're switching your weapon, you know. And it has like a paper rock scissors element too, where some of the enemies have shields, and you know, depending at like certain weapons will break their shields more, you know, better than other weapons. So you kind of have to be paying attention to what enemy type it is and what weapon will do better against those enemies. And there's some combos that you can do where, you know, you break down the armor, you shoot your shield at it, and it'll explode the enemies, and it'll have like AoE damage that'll affect other enemies. So yeah, I'm just loving it. I think it's a great time. And you know, it's like a popcorn type of thing. I don't even know what's going on. Like honestly, the story is like whatever. The trailers are
The story is something else.
the
Like,
story. I don't know. I'm not there for the story, but the cutscenes
yeah,
are cool. Like it's just eye candy everywhere. You know, it's just eye
right.
candy.
It kind of feels like they're trying to turn Doomslayer into Halo, and it's like he's not Master Chief. He doesn't really give a crap about any of this stuff, and they're like, you know,
Yeah, the story's not my favorite. I have a couple criticisms though. I mean, so my criticisms would be that there's a level where you get into like this big mech. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like you spend
yeah,
all this time with, you know, getting the like balancing the gameplay, you know, like the parrying, the melee, all these weapons and leveling up the weapons. It's like I feel like I think they're just going for like a change of pace and maybe like a you know, to like maybe just expand the game and make you feel like, oh, there's more going on. But I just think it's
right.
unnecessary. The dragon thing was kind of fun for a little while, but I really hated the I almost like rage quit the game because the dodging in that is just very awkward, and the way they kind of give you the tutorial. I like miss something, but then the way that they re-explain, you know, kind of, you know how they give you a tip if you were like sucking in a game. They're
Yeah,
like,
they do. Yeah.
hey, dummy, you know, you got to do this. Is what you do, but they explain it. I don't know. I was stuck and I was very frustrated. I was like, oh, my rage quit. I didn't like. So I think that stuff. It's like I don't know. I just wish they would have just not put that in personally, but I don't know. It's cool though. I overall I highly recommend if you know that you'll like it. I mean, that being said, I would say even if this is worth trying for sure, even if you didn't like the other ones, because it is so different. I think that there's some similarities, but there's enough difference here to give it more of a unique feel to me personally, because of that melee parry system.
Yeah.
It's very different, I think. It
Oh,
really
for sure.
added on.
From Eternal, where you just like jumping around like a crazy person, to this game where you're like, it's like stand and parry, and like it's literally you can just counter a lot of the weapons instead of just going around shooting. Once you get the like power glove really early, I went around just using the power glove a lot and punching some of the bigger guys, and even when the ones that are like mounted on the beast thing that like you can just like basically you're just trying to counter them to death until they go away or whatever. It's like it makes it a lot. It's a different gameplay type, and I do appreciate that. I know there's a lot of people that don't like the fact that they did this, but I appreciate that they try to make each game different. Right? They don't have to do that. They could have literally just done Dune 2016 over and over again. But the fact that they tried to do something different, and for me, it actually works. And it does feel more like the weekend boomer shooter that Gingerbeard Man brought up. That in this game, instead of like Eternal, where it felt like, oh my god, I have to be paying attention constantly because there is enemies coming around every corner. There's a weapon for every single enemy. Whereas this game, they do have the weapons for every enemy, but you don't feel like you have to use that weapon because you have the shield and you have the things that can like counter that.
Yeah, you're right. There is like probably a top 2 or 3 things you can do for it, but you still can work around it. You're just gonna take longer to beat the enemy. So it's intense because you really have to be switching your weapons around, your strategy around to combat this. And I really enjoyed it. I think it's a fun time, especially like it's like a no brainer for those with Game Pass to at least give it a shot. I mean, you might be surprised. Even I can't remember, Mark. Do you have a Game Pass?
Nope. I don't know. No Xbox,
not a Game
no
Pass person.
Okay.
I like owning stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm with you. I'm not. I got like a deal for like $3 a month, so I kind of just stocked up.
Yeah.
You know, it was like
you can't pass that up. You know, when you get at that.
Yeah,
I can.
Do you like that it's more explorable? Like it feels like it's a much bigger than the other 2 games. Like, you know, you're going around finding the secrets and all that stuff more.
I think it's cool for replayability right now. I'll be honest, like I'm just going through I'm just going like right through it pretty much because I'm trying to do that more so with games now because my default nature is to like explore every nook and cranny of a game. Yeah. And then I get burnt out and I don't finish the game. Or I'm like, I'm going to take a break and I never get around to it. Whereas if I would have just mainlined it and finished it, you know, I can always go back then and I played the game. I can always go back and replay it and explore more. So I think this one, I'm just kind of having fun, just running right to the main objectives and just killing everything in my way. You know, it's just cool. That's how I'm playing the game.
I kind of try because that the way I'm playing Expedition 33 is different. That's the way I've been playing it, where I'm kind of trying to get a lot of the different things and whatever. But obviously JRPGs are slower pace. This game I like tried to do the like let me explore and find things, and then I got to the end of the first level and it was like you found like 30% of the stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even bothering the rest of the levels. Just like I'm just gonna go and get to the next thing and screw trying to find the keys and all this other stuff in here.
Yeah, I think I did that the first board, and I was like so disappointed in myself. I thought it was pretty good at finding everything, and it was like the same thing. It's like, oh man, I'm real bad at this game. Well, I didn't find much, so
it kind of sucks to hear that the mech and dragon things are not fun. But
your mileage may vary. The dragon stuff is more fun than the mech stuff. The mech stuff was like, what's going on here? Why are we doing this?
Right.
Then it was cool for like a few seconds. Then it just become like it just wore out its welcome, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The dragon stuff was a little more interesting. I'm just a little bit tainted because the dodging stuff, I couldn't get it. It's actually once you get it, it's very easy. But I was multitasking. I was talking to somebody on a call when that tutorial came up, and so I missed it, and then I couldn't. It just took me a while. I was annoyed. So
definitely understand that. Well, anything else you want to say about the game?
No, I'm digging it. Definitely check it out. I mean, for me, it's a recommend, and I'm pretty, for those that are hearing for the first time, I'm pretty critical with games. I'm not. I don't go easy on things. I'm pretty critical. This one has impressed me, and I think it's interesting because I think the sales aren't doing that well. Like if you look at Steam charts and things, it doesn't seem like this game is selling all that well, and even the reviews are kind of like low 80s, I would say, reviews. Yeah. So I'm surprised. This is one of those things where usually I can kind of see where critics are coming from, but this one is I'm pretty high on. So
I'm seeing a lot of people that really love Eternal are not liking this game because it's of the pace, or you're not frenetically just killing things all the time. It's not super slow. it's not the crazy pace that Eternal was either. So I can understand if you just got off playing Eternal or you went back to playing Eternal before you played this game, it's going to be a very much a big difference. But I feel like that's a lot of it. It's just like it's either that or the other components that you said are not the biggest fan of are also kind of weighing down people that are kind of having to push through it for review, and you're getting to those segments where it's like, oh, why is this here? It's wasting my time. I don't want to deal with this right now, and there's no way to skip that. So yeah, it's one of those things sometimes when like you do reviews, it's like people forget that you're not playing it the same way that you would if you just bought the game, where you can do it at your own pace. You have to do it in an accelerated pace. And sometimes that really doesn't help when you have certain parts of the game that are not favorable,
I'll ask the important question. When do you expect John Romero's head to show up?
Who to show up? Sorry.
John Romero.
Oh, is that like does he usually?
He's the.
He was a co-creator.
Yeah.
He was like an infamous boss in the first one, like original Doom, like 1993.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't know that. Was he into? Because I never finished 2016, so I wonder if there was some Easter egg there. I didn't.
Maybe there's a lot of bad blood though, so who knows?
Yeah, that's true too. There's some of that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What'd you think about another thing too? Also, is the obviously not having the original composer. Also, I think.
Oh yeah, the music. So James. Shout out James, co-host of the Video Game Happy Hour. He was kind of mid on this game, and he mentioned something about the music, and what he said about the music was like it just kind of gets repetitive.
Yeah,
and I did kind of notice that, and now I can't. Now it's like weighing on me, so I have to agree that the soundtrack in this game, especially when you're my 1-2 punch is Claire, and I know we'll be chatting about that in a bit, but like the soundtrack in that game is like I just thinking about gave me goosebumps. It's like so good, but and in this game it's like it's just there.
I got to the point where sometimes I would just put on a podcast or whatever and just play because it just gets kind of like I'm tuning it out because it just sounds like the same thing, like James said over and over. So
yeah,
you could definitely tell there's a quality difference. Unfortunately, I know that id and all those folks definitely wanted you to feel like maybe there wasn't going to be such a drop in quality, but you could tell the difference, unfortunately, and that kind of brings it down a little bit too. So,
see, I guess I didn't see that. I need to maybe go back. I have been playing some Doom 2016 recently, and maybe I wasn't doing Eternal because that one wasn't my cup of tea. But
right,
so maybe that's where I'm a little skewed. But it seems quality to me. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, I dig it though.
But I'm definitely more like you, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is definitely more my jam when it comes to soundtracks. So maybe if I was a huge like that kind of metal fan, I'd definitely be able to give you a big review on that. But that's just from hearing the two, just a base kind of look at it. But just to move on to Expedition 33 here, Mark, I know you're heading into Act 3, so let's not talk about story stuff or whatnot. But I haven't really moved much from where I was when we were doing the podcast last week. I did beat the first, thing that you beat in that like big part of Act 2. I know also you figured out. Funnily enough, that you were on Expert and you didn't even know.
Yeah, it only took me 40 hours.
Really?
I was getting raked by Act 2's last boss, and I was like, is there a way to do this easier? And then I looked at the difficulty section and it said Expert, and I'm like, oh, that would help.
You must have hit like a toggle and had no idea and then hit A and just kept on, or X or whatever.
You were talking about how I'm playing the game. I had to restart that game again last week
You restarted it?
For the second time. Actually, for the third.
Yeah.
You restarted
Okay, 'cause I remember-
again?
Yeah. So last week, 2 weeks ago, I restarted it because I didn't get Mayel's special weapon that like breaks the game. So I restarted then. And then last week, like I think it was like Wednesday, I told the game not to update because that update, it broke, it nerfed everything. And the goddamn game updated anyway.
Right.
I just like woke up and hit the game, and it was like, oh, this game auto updated when it was in sleep mode. And I was like,
that unfortunately that happens. You leave it in rest mode. Yeah.
No, I selected the option for not to do that, and it still did it.
Oh wow.
And I was like, you motherfucker. I was so pissed. So I started looking around, and you're talking about games not being on discs. Expedition 33 is on the disc.
Oh really? Okay.
The problem is finding a copy. Amazon is sold out, Walmart sold out, GameStop is sold out, and Target was sold out. And I'm not paying $90 for a $50 game.
Yeah, they said that when it first came out that the physical edition was sold out and that they were trying to get more copies in, but they were selling out a lot.
See, I did find a copy though at a GameStop about a half hour away. So I called them and I was like, "Hey, do you have a copy?" And they were like, "Yeah." They're kind of questioning me like, "Why was you even calling?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Can you hold it?" And they were like, "Okay, like I guess, sure."
Yeah.
Drove out there, got it, and then I asked the guy, I'm like, "Hey, can you see if there's another GameStop closer to where I live, so I don't have to come out here for this goddamn game?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he looked it up. He's like, "Oh, our system is down." And I was like, "Yep, GameStop for the win."
That sounds like GameStop.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So yeah, I installed the game. It's version 1.0, so it is kind of different from like the version you guys are playing. The UI is slightly different. Like when you use Gustav's like overdrive thing, like it was red.
Yeah.
In this version, it's like blue, and like not really evident that well. Like you can tell they did like a
they
UI
definitely
fast.
updated that, right?
It's also pretty buggy. I've had numerous fights, especially with like flying enemies, where like if I kill an enemy when I'm in ranged mode, the game basically freezes. Or I get into a state where I can't get out of the ranged mode, but I can't do anything else. So that's cool.
Well, hey, you are playing it on the version they don't want you to play it on. So, I mean,
yep,
that's kind of expected.
They shouldn't have forced me into it. But yeah, it's cool. Or I still like it. Some of the items are different too. Like it's like, oh, this one weapon is a great weapon for CL, and I was like, I had that weapon, and mine is completely different. Like, so that's cool.
Yep. See what updates do. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but yep, still cool. I got to the Act 3 where it's like actual fun mode now, where I can completely break the game. So I plan on doing that.
Yeah, I do love that about JRPGs. You can just break the game. You power up enough, you can break the game and have fun with it afterwards. So.
Well, that game does a really nice job of like level scaling, or like not scaling, but like making when you get more powerful. If you go back to the earlier areas, you can just decimate everything.
Right. Yeah, because you're over leveled. So.
Well, there's one area. I won't get into specifics. You're in it. I think you were in it, Sean. But it's like big dance arena or like dance level, basically. Mm-hmm. And I was one-shotting every enemy in that place. Not the bosses, but just like the regular enemies. They're like ballerina enemies.
Well, a lot of them are you have to shoot them.
Yeah, I was like one bullet killing them.
Yeah.
But you're not. I mean, that's a little overboard.
I mean, the thing is also if they do a great job with the element weaknesses too, right? So and also it does matter where you shoot them. So if you headshot them,
I can shoot it anywhere. I was like one-shotting everything.
Well,
just with my elbow.
I don't know. To me, it does seem to make a difference. Like if you shoot them somewhere in the head, the amount of damage you do is different from when you shoot them like in the chest or something.
Yeah. But like, no, I can shoot it in the leg and it would just like die instantly. Right. And I was like, cool. So I'm
Well,
power
Krafty,
leveling through that area.
you're not as far as us, and I know you were having. You have some like. What are your kind of thoughts on the game? Because I know you were kind of having, I guess, some thoughts at first. Do you feel better about the game as you've gone on, or?
Yeah, so I mean I like the game. I think this game is great and I know it's been talked about, but it's still one thing that just blows me away. Number one, it's a $50 game
Yeah.
and it's a small studio, and I know that they had um they hired contractors. I don't know to what extent,
Right.
but it's just impressive that that's such a great game in a small studio and inexpensive, and it's just eating more expensive games lunch, right? It's just awesome. So so I think the game is phenomenal. Soundtrack's great, as we talked about before. The the thing that I'm struggling with is like I the timing of the dodge and the parry.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Bump
I'm
it down
just
to
really
easy.
yeah. So what I've been doing, Mark, is that I've been kind of toggling it back and forth, because here's the thing: the easy is like real easy. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, you pretty much just can. I mean, I don't do this, but I probably could just spam the attack button and then that's it, and just take the hits and just spam. Just attack,
So
attack,
it
attack,
plays
attack,
more
and do
like
nothing.
a regular turn-based game where you don't do the dodge and the parry almost.
No, I mean you can. I don't even think. I don't think it's a challenge at all. Really,
Yeah.
I mean
Well,
it's just
like
more time consuming. You're just gonna like take a longer for a battle, maybe heal once or twice. But the
that,
easy. So that's my criticism. My thing is the easy is too easy. Sorry, Mark, you were gonna say something.
I was gonna say that Act Two boss I was having a problem with. Uh, she did in like one attack like 4,000 damage, which overkills any character I have basically.
Right.
I
Yeah.
burned it down to easy, and that attack went from 4,000 to about 200,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
See.
I was like,
Yeah.
"This is awesome!" Like,
No, but I could definitely understand what you're saying. Like you want that kind of intermediate between the normal and the easy, so you can get a hang of the parry and dodge, and then maybe we'll bump it back up.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
well,
here's my challenge is like the normal for me is you have to like nail the dodges and the parries, and I just can't. It's I'm sure if I bang my head on it enough, I probably will be able to do it, but it just does not come naturally to me.
right.
And so then
well,
like yeah, I'm going to turn it on easy, but like you were saying, Mark, it's like then you just don't. It's truly easy. It's not like I'm looking for that sweet spot. So what I've been doing is leaving like switching between normal and easy. But the problem is like usually when I need to switch it to easy is on like a boss battle, and then it just becomes like no challenge. Just like okay, it's just
Right.
truly easy. It's truly story mode. I mean, which is cool. I mean, I'm glad that there's that option, because some people they do genuinely they're not at all skilled, and I can. So by the way, on easy I can parry and dodge, right? Like, but on normal it's like I'm like 1 out of 10 or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Especially
so
the later like the longer you get in the game, the more you have characters that will do 4 or 5 hit combos, and you have to parry all of them to do the counter, and that gets annoying. So I can definitely understand what you're saying.
yeah. So that's the thing. It's like I can dodge and parry like a decent amount, like a reasonable amount on easy, but on normal, I'm just not getting it. And so that's where it's like there is a mod, and I thought about doing it. But what is your opinion on this, guys? So if I'm switching it to easy, is it cheating if I put a mod in that kind of I'll have like the normal damage, but then it kind of scales it down to like the easy parry window. So I feel like that's kind of like the compromise, right? It's like,
You play however you want. I don't. It
yeah,
doesn't bother me.
I
Like
mean,
I'm
there's a
not one of
mod.
those people. I'm not a. I'm good with the people that say you should get good and don't play. Look, I agree that if was it Miyazaki doesn't want to add easy modes to Dark Souls games or whatever, that's cool, whatever. But if you're gonna have it and you have mods available to make it more of a challenge, but yet make it more comfortable for you to get through the game. I think that's what the important part is for you to get through the game, than not play it at all.
I mean, try playing the game unintentionally in hard mode.
So that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, what's worked is obviously you kind of have to want to do it. I know it gets boring to fight the same enemies, several times, but fighting those enemies a few times, because I'm also grinding and leveling up at the same time, helps get that dodge and parry faster. And then obviously if you can do a perfect dodge, that means you can parry when that move happens too. Like case in point, there's this optional boss that you do eventually that you can find, and he does like a 8-hit combo, and then he'll do an attack that will wipe you if you don't hit it in one shot. And I fought him enough times where eventually I got the hang of his
you get like muscle
and
memory.
I was able to counter him.
Yeah, you also notice like more visual cues, like you can tell the frame if they're gonna. Like,
there's sound cues too that help out.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. I've never caught on the sound cues. I feel kind of dumb.
Not every enemy does it, but some definitely do.
Yeah.
There's one optional boss where you have to parry. Like you don't attack it. You can't attack it unless you parry it, because it'll just keep auto attacking forever.
That's the one I was on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That he'll auto attack forever if you don't parry him. So
right. I got to parry it like 6 times in a row too.
Yeah.
For it to like break, and I'm like, fuck, I did it, but I'm oh god.
Yeah.
And again,
it was like this took forever.
Mode, so, yeah.
So if this game had a turn-based only mode where you just couldn't, it just locked out the parry, the dodge, and I know that's a big part of the game, right? I understand that, but if it had that mode, because I know both of you are into like the turn-based games, would you have just opted in for that at some point and just played it in a different, because I think they could do that with this game. I think they could release like a patch or something.
Oh yeah,
because there's enough going on with like the combos and things like that. They could definitely release a mode like that. I think.
Not me, because I actually like the fact that it's different, because I had played a traditional turn-based RPG in Lunar right before this came out.
Okay.
So I was kind of happy with the having it be different, but being someone that is in many of those groups, in Facebook groups and whatever, that I see so many people that go, man, I wish this did have a mode where it was traditional turn-based, and I would love the crap out of this game, because I don't want to have to dodge and parry every single attack,
There's like a PC mod that just does it automatically. So I just want to do that.
I wouldn't be surprised if eventually it's just like the same thing with the not having the mini map thing, that I think they're getting so much. I know that the dev just came out and kind of reiterated why there's no mini map, but I feel like eventually they're going to get pressured enough, especially if they're going to do some kind of DLC, to add not only a mini map, but I think they'll get pressured to add some kind of turn-based only mode into the game, so that more people will be able to try it. Because I think there's a lot of people that have stopped playing it because of not having the mini map, and I think there's a lot of people that stopped playing because they got tired of the dodging and parrying as well.
Yeah, those are my two. Like I'm in that camp, both those things. But I'm gonna push on. I'm gonna push on. I might do that mod, but like, so another weakness of mine, I have a comically bad sense of direction. So
me too, man. I feel you.
I am like following like a turn-by-turn guide for this game. Like every dungeon is laid out pretty much, and I still get lost occasionally because it'll say like go east, and I'm like, what? How do you define east in this game? Like left, like.
Well, there is a compass. If you press the Y button,
not in dungeons.
Triangle.
Inside,
even
there's a little compass that does north, south, east, west, but it doesn't give you the map like the world map does.
Right. But even if you press triangle, if you're PlayStation, it'll bring up the compass.
Yeah.
Well, not on my copy.
Maybe that's part of the update that you have to do.
Yeah,
interesting. Because like you know what I'm talking about? Because it'll show your health.
Yeah,
and everything like that.
I remember like the overworld map. None of the locations are even labeled or named.
Until you get there, and then it will.
No, they're still not.
Oh, on yours, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know why, but that sounds kind of fun playing. I know it's silly, but it sounds like just brings some nostalgia. You're just playing some old, kind of half. I mean, I know it's better than halfway done, but
No,
kind
there
of
are parts
janky.
that are definitely like every NPC or every gestural merchant is named the same.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, they don't
Wow.
have the different names. Okay.
And
Yeah.
there are like placeholder text occasionally, like in the UI, and I'm like, what is this? Like, 'cause I played this game, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
wasn't here when I played it originally. So
But all right. Anybody want to talk about any other games they've been playing, or that's it for the?
That's been it for me.
yeah, this Expedition 33, and that's it so far.
I did play that Culebra Limbo game for a little bit. It's like a spin-off of Limbo. It's in the same universe. It's on
Yes, the
Game Pass.
Limboverse.
So and also another game that like a lot of Spanish heritage Day of the Dead kind of look to it. So if you like that, I think that'll be right up your alley on that end. And just it's kind of feels like a very chill game instead of being like you kind of do stuff every day and try to get through an area and figure out things, and it's got puzzle elements still, but I haven't played too much of it. But it's like one of those things like, okay, if you want to just have a chill time, it's a good game for that, I guess. So all right, so Krafty, let's turn the focus on you for a little bit here. Just something that we do similar to kind of what you do as well when you have a guest on, but it's been a while since we've had a guest. I kind of like to talk about like your gaming journey, why whether a lot of times we have like folks like us that do game reviews or stuff like that. So interesting to have like somebody that also does a podcast. Like so when did you start gaming? Did somebody introduce you to gaming, or you kind of picked it up by yourself? Like how that start for you? What was
Yeah.
your first game and console?
Yeah, good question. So, um, I would say that the introduced gaming's always been around in my life. So I'm in the so I'm in my upper 40s now technically because I recently had a birthday. So so I go way back. So my first gaming experience was the Atari and television. So I'm not sure if either of you heard of or are familiar with what Intellivision is. That was my first
Yes.
my
I
first
have an
system.
Amico.
Yeah.
So I thought that the system, looking back, I think it's ahead of its time for those that may not be familiar. You slid these like plastic cards over the controller, so the controller had like a 9-digit keypad
Yeah, it's like
on
a
it,
phone pad.
like a phone pad, exactly, like with these raised bumps or whatever. So you slid a card over it, and for each game, so for like baseball, it would change it would have like a different graphic which each button did, and for D&D, like a game D&D, so it changed up the graphics. And I was so young, like I couldn't grasp this, was like way too complicated for me. Yeah, we didn't have an Atari, but that was like my first game system my dad bought, is the Intellivision. And my dad was always a tech guy. That's where I get it from. And he was like, "Well, this is so much better than the Atari because look at all these buttons. You got all
Yeah.
these things." Which he's not wrong, but Atari had like the better games. But so I've been gaming since then. I think I was like 4, like years old essentially, since I've been gaming. But really, I mean, gaming is kind of whatever. Then I went to like with the Nintendo is one of those. You've all probably seen those videos where the kid goes bananas on Christmas when they get their system. So for me, that was like the NES. And so the rest is history. I just fell in love with games. I had the first Nintendo Power. I wish I kept all that stuff. I wish I kept
Yeah,
all my games.
Yeah.
I
Right.
was I was like the kid that kept all this stuff very neat too. So I kept my boxes and the instruct. I even kept like everything, everything that was in the game. I just brought the game out. I was very neat about my games. I wish I would have kept everything, but You know, I'm sure you guys can maybe relate, but I traded my stuff in to get the next the next thing.
Yeah,
Like if I wanted
when you're young and you don't have your own income, that's the way that you why you get new games is trading stuff in.
yeah.
So,
So yeah.
do you have? I mean, you talked about you're kind of like a PC gamer, pretty much. Do you have a favorite genre or like what would you say is like your top three kind of genres that you play? Or
Yeah, so I would say, you know, I would say like action RPG would be my thing. So my favorite game of all time now is Elden Ring. I've never been like a Souls guy before. I'm not really a Souls guy, but just the level of detail in that game, all the armor that you can pick up, and just the sense of exploration, it really took me back to like my origins as a gamer. Like Zelda was I love Zelda and that sense of exploration and like the original Zelda and Link to the Past for Super Nintendo. I think that probably is like my number two game is Link to the Past. I mean, Elden Ring recently overthrew my number one. Uh, so I had a really good experience. But I love Final Fantasy 3 or 6. I mean, I had that game. I love that game. I never finished it because as a kid playing that, I just didn't have the brain power, I guess.
it is a long game. Not to mention as a kid, probably like when that moment happens where the whole group gets separated, you probably think that like, oh my god, I have to restart the game again. Like, so
That's a game I really want to go back to that. I have like a lot of gaming regrets. Like I never finished Chrono Trigger. I never finished the Final Fantasy 6, and so I have a long backlog of
I'm there with you. Yeah.
definitely have to finish Chrono Trigger for sure.
Yeah, I get a lot of crap for that for sure.
I got to
for not finishing
I
that
got to
one.
put in Chrono Trigger when you're in the future. Everyone's bitching about how hungry they are. I'm like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
where I stop.
To be fair, like Chrono Trigger has all the different endings. You could technically beat the game like early on if you wanted to. But you are not going to be. You're going to be in a war of attrition, which is not going to be fun. So it is a lot more fun to do it like later once you get more of the characters and all that other stuff. But
I was thinking about just streaming it like every, just picking a day of the week and streaming it, for a couple hours each week and just force. It sounds bad forcing my way to do it. I think I just need that accountability because otherwise,
yeah,
I'm guilty of the new and shiny. Like the new shiny game comes out and I'm kind of bouncing to it.
Right.
yeah. I mean, it's difficult when you like. We have this as well, both of us as reviewers and also just doing the podcast. The thing that gets the attention is the new shiny game, right? That's the thing that you wanna put on the thumbnail. The thing that you want to hype up that's the thing that people are playing, right? Most people are not going backwards unless you're playing one of those service games now. Um, to go back and play an old game unless it's about to have a remaster or something like that. There's usually has to be a reason why you're playing the old game. So like what you're doing the game clubs and streaming and stuff, I think that would help you having that community behind you to kind of encourage you to keep playing. That might help
For sure.
you finish some of these games.
I think so.
Moving on from that, like what made you go from just playing about games to like talking about them? What made you want to start the podcast?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I love chatting about games, and I just find the gaming industry fascinating, and there's so much. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and so shout out your show. I listen to your show. I think it's a great, very informative, and I love supporting smaller, creators. Especially, I think they're doing a much better job than bigger creators. They're keeping it more real. So so I listen to a lot, and it's just my main hobby. And since I've listened to a lot of podcasts, it was like, wow, wouldn't it be fun to do our own? And so the opportunity arose, and so we started our own show. And really, the goal is to build community, just talk about games, find other gamers to play games with. So we like to do some occasional game nights. We organize with the community, and like the game club, like you mentioned, just like playing a game. This last one doesn't like. I would like to in the future. I think my parameters are going to be the game has to be a year old because I really want to stay away from the current game, because the idea is kind of going back to a game that people may have missed that they
Yeah.
didn't get to, and then kind of talking about that game. So, and then holding each other accountable to actually finishing the game. So yeah, that's why I got into it, is just like to build that community of gamers. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, having people to like do things with, play games with, makes it a lot more fun than just even Mark can attest to, I'm sure, like playing with the ends is a lot more fun than playing with yourself, by yourself all the time. So
Yeah.
when I used to, like, in college, I had like when Rock Band and Guitar Hero were big, we used to organize like gaming nights, and everybody would bring their systems and stuff like that, and we could all play together and stuff like that. I wish I miss those times, like not having anybody that I try to get my daughter into games. I almost got her in with It Takes Two, but then obviously having to do this as sort of a job sometimes makes it to where it's like, oh, I got to focus on this stuff and I can't go back and just play whatever. But I wish I had like at least my brother, who also games. He streams like Escape from Tarkov and stuff all the time. I wish
that's a rough game.
Yeah, I wish I could even play with him something, just to have somebody around that plays games. I probably am gonna try to, like, if Mark and I can find a multiplayer thing that comes out at the same time, just so he and I could play something. But it does, having that game club helps, and also like going back to, you said you were going to try to keep it to an older game. What is something that like you loved when you grew up about gaming that maybe isn't present today, that you miss a lot, that you wish was still around? Is there something missing, you feel like?
Yeah, I guess it's the it's really that, in a way, being locked in to, so when you're younger, you buy, like, you don't get an opportunity to buy every game, right? And so you bought the
Right.
game and you have to stick with it, and you have to, like, and then you have to borrow games to your friends or whatever, trade things. And so I don't know if there's anything about gaming necessarily. I think some of it right now, there's a lot of games that, so a pet peeve I have is like over tutorializing games, where like every game needs to be for everyone. And it's like a lot of games are like, you've never, like, it assumes you've never played a video game before. It's just so annoying. So I think about games today is like, just let people figure it out.
That's because games today don't come with manuals, so they have to do that.
Yeah, that's true as well. Like, right, we used to have the manual. Like, we forget sometimes how much some of the manuals almost bordered on walkthroughs for those games, right?
Well, then there we go. Let's bring back the old school. Let's get more physical stuff. Give me the manual. Like, I miss that. And I miss going to Blockbuster, like that sense of discovery type of thing,
That I miss a lot.
Like everything, we have everything, which is nice. I say that. I don't know if I really want to go back, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But I kind of miss that, like, sense of discovery, and being like, you only have, like, now we have so many games, there's so many choices. It's just, it feels like overwhelming at times, which is good and bad. Like, there's good that so many options, but I don't know.
That's the thing that I love about indies, and why I'll go search out, whether it's on Game Pass or find the thing on Steam and see if it's on console somewhere, is is that like I want to discover why it was so awesome for this person. Like, can I discover that same magic for myself and like see why it was so cool or whatever? And like, then when you do get it, like, I was excited for Dust Velote. I kind of knew what it was about, but I didn't know it was going to hit me the way it did until I played it. Obviously reviewed it, whatever, gave it 4 stars out of 5. But it's like, it's the experience for me of like, that hit me somewhere that I didn't think games could hit, you know? And like, I think that that's beautiful in a way that you don't get that with AAA experiences. And I do appreciate that we do have so many different kinds of games nowadays. Whereas when we were kids, we only got to experience that when you went to Blockbuster and it was the only game that was there. And it was either you rent that or you don't get anything. Right. So, because all the big games were gone. Right. So like discovering games is a little bit more difficult because there is so much. But when you do find it is still kind of that cool moment, I feel like, with games still. What do you think about like gaming overall today? Like, do you think we're in a better place because things are more everywhere? Or do you miss the days when you had the exclusives? Or what do you like, as somebody that's kind of gone through the whole era of gaming, like where?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think, I think I would just go back to kind of what I was saying is like that sense of discovery. I think I'm excited. Here's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the indie scene. Like, I'm blanking on the developers of Expedition 33.
Sample,
But
yeah.
But I think that's the future. I think these AAA studios, they're kind of they're too afraid to innovate. It's just same old, same old. And I know, and sure we get like a banger AAA here or there, but I think the real magic is in the indie developers. And I think things are going to get real exciting with tools that are going to be available to them, like Unreal Engine 5. And so I think people are going to be more enabled to make games more easily, especially with like, I know AI bad, but just saying like with tools, I look at it as AI is just a tool. It's like, are you mad at a search engine? You're going to get upset that like you can search things quicker, whatever. It's like, so I think there's use in some capabilities there, that I think that games are going to get real interesting in the future with that the indie scene. I'm not really looking forward to the AAA is like losing its luster for me. It just seems to be disappointment, and then they're charging $80. So yes, what do I think about gaming in general? Like prices going up, quality going down. What? But then you have a game like Expedition 33, price lower and quality is higher, And so I think this market, the craziness that AAAs are, is going to really put a spotlight now and enable indie devs to get more business, I think, because of these the crazy prices that these AAA studios think they can charge.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot as well. It's just like something's gonna have to give eventually. Like, you're either gonna have to get smaller, siphon out smaller portions of your team to make, a smaller game, or you're gonna have to start. Unfortunately, might mean more layoffs. Getting your studio smaller with less people, overinflating it. Ubisoft has this problem.
Or make more games, or
yeah.
just divide these teams up and like, well,
yeah,
we have all these people. Let's just make smaller games and make more games. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. You look at the 360 PS3. Obviously, we're talking about different technology. We're not talking about 4K assets and that kind of thing. That takes time. And obviously, the more technology you use probably means more bugs and everything. I'm not a dev, so I can't speak to that. But it is crazy how we look at that 360 PS3 generation, how many games came out so quickly to now it's like,
Yeah, PS2 as well.
you're
right?
lucky if you get one game per generation of whatever it is, you know. And it's crazy because it takes at least 5 years to make one AAA game now. High quality.
Usually don't hit that well anymore either.
Yeah, or you have to have started way back, and then you have to have started both of them at the same time, or something like that, to get them in a decent time frame within each other, and that's crazy in of itself. But that's kind of where gaming is, and obviously the newest console that is going, well, it's not new technically, it's just a sequel to the current Switch, but the most recent console that is going to release in a few months, the Switch 2. I know you're getting one at launch. What are you excited about, and what are you not excited about with the Switch 2, as they announced that they are going to have USB keyboard support for game chat? They won't have VRR for the docked mode, only on handheld, which is weird. And they did announce the games that are going to be getting free updates at launch, which we'll go through in a little bit. But what are you excited about with Switch 2? I know the graphics is not the most exciting part for you, but
it's such
a better kickstand.
This is such a loaded topic for me because I'm really frustrated with a lot of the things that they do, Nintendo. Yeah, like the hardware choices, the price, like the audacity to charge $80 for Mario Kart. I mean, it's bananas to me, but I'm one of the guilty people that's like complaining about all these things, but like, here's my credit card. And in my defense, is like, like both you gentlemen, I do a show. And so I kind of want to cover it from that standpoint. And also I'm just curious. I like to, even though I'm not a console gamer, I still buy the consoles because I like the gadget. I want to experience it for myself. I want to form my own opinion on it and I'll listen to other people. There's lots of people I trust, but I definitely want to form my own opinions on it. So while I'm against the price and all that stuff, I just have such a soft spot for Nintendo and Zelda and Mario. Like some of my best gaming memories in my life have been like playing Mario with my daughter when she was younger, and even like older, like through the pandemic, we bonded over playing Mario Odyssey and stuff. So even playing Mario Wonder with my girlfriend and stuff. It's just like they make these games that it's just there's nothing really like it. So I'm all in, like, because you and I were chatting on the Sean, you and I were chatting on the launch, the pre-order night. So I've got the pre-order. I'm excited. Donkey Kong, even I'm looking forward to it. Even though I hate everything about their business practices.
Yeah,
the fact that they're suing.
That's how they get you.
Pal
right?
World. I have such a nostalgia pull. I just, I'm not gonna like the only person that I'm like really cheating. Sure, like I can make a statement and be like, screw you, Nintendo. I'm not buying your stuff, but dude, it's not I know that I'm guilty in saying like, if I do it, I have to stop, and then maybe other people stop or whatever. It's just, come on, man. It's like an extra $50. Am I really going to let that get in my way?
The problem also is that it's not like you can wait and it's going to get better, because it's not going down in price.
Right.
That's how video game systems are now. That you're not going to wait a year and get it cheaper. You might, maybe a Switch Lite comes around where you don't have to dock it or whatever, and it's cheaper that way, but then you lose the meaning of what it means to have a Switch at that point. You're just getting a Game Boy.
No, they'll make the Switch OLED, and that'll be the better screen.
Yeah, but honestly, like the way I've seen this LCD apparently looks, it's not that much worse than the OLED, for Switch 1. Now, maybe obviously they could use better technology for the switch to OLED, and then it'll blow it out of the water or something. But it's just the things that you used to get with waiting on your system, other than okay, there's going to be more games for it. The advantages that you get from being the early adopter, aside from hope to God, it's like this first Switch where I never really had a problem with it and nothing happened and it worked the entire life cycle of the Switch. I still have my launch Switch that I got day one. Only thing, it has like a little bitty blue mark on the screen because I dropped it one time. But other than that, it's worked fine. But really, it's just like, what's coming down the pike, like you said, with Mario, 3D Mario. Like the moment they announced 3D Mario, and if that's at this June Direct or later, I'm gonna be jumping up and down like a little kid again, because that's what I'm waiting for, is 3D Mario. I know you're excited about Donkey Kong. I'm still waiting on reviews on that, just to dropping $70 on something to play it for 2 hours and not going back to it. That's a big deal, So
yeah, and maybe you'll be able to borrow it from somebody or whatever those shenanigans are.
Well, that will require somebody breaking the console, because now they've made it to where you can only share with the people that you live with. So,
well, yeah, but I thought you just have to be like if you know someone in your town or whatever, you have to be in like physical proximity.
Yeah, you have to be in physical distance. Before, it was like the way that the PlayStation share works, where you can be long distance, and so we'll see. I have faith that we're gonna get some cool announcements at the June Direct to kind of wow us where they haven't yet.
You think? I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like there's some holes missing, and then just this year,
What do you think, Mark? Do you think they're gonna come out with like a Punch Out? Here's the thing. Like, what are they doing? Like Punch Out, Wave Racer,
Nothing.
F-Zero.
They have all this like cool IP
Again,
too. That's like
nothing. They don't give a shit.
I mean, at least they've said that their excuse with F-Zero is always when we find something innovative to do with F-Zero, we'll make a new one. But then it's like they'll post all of the old ones on Switch Online and give you all the nostalgia feels and be like, I really would love to have a new one of these, but you can't do it. It's like, once again, they have an indie developer making a version of F-Zero at launch, but you can't make one yourself. And it's like, oh, come on.
What do you are either of you fans of Wave Race?
Man, no. I loved Wave Race. I would love to see that come back. It's been long enough, since the GameCube.
One of the videos you were showing had Mario in the water. It kind of racing through the water. I wonder if it's like there'll be like a Wave Race mode inside of Mario Kart.
I think they did. They said that there is going to be a water level, and that we've seen where now they can kind of like hover a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if they add. Why don't you just go all full Diddy Kong Racing and just give us water levels and flying levels? Why not? Just do it all. You're going to give us free roam. That's part of the free roam, right? Do the Crew 2 thing where you just have different vehicles going through there. But what do you think about the games that are getting these free updates? I feel like at least some of them, thank God, right? Like Pokemon, definitely. If you were going to charge you for that, that's just a ripoff, because that game was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, so I think they're kind of sketchy with like, well, what I kind of deduct here is that they list like visuals optimized or whatever. So I think that line means like the DLSS. So the GPU, and sorry if I'm skipping ahead to news, I apologize, but
yeah, no, go ahead.
The GPU is like equivalent of a 2050 Super, which is like the Ampere architecture, but which is actually like the 30 series NVIDIA GPU, which has, I forget which version of DLSS it is. But so essentially they're gonna have like a higher level of DLSS. So I think that's what that means when they say visuals optimized for the Nintendo Switch. I think what they're talking about there is the DLSS. They're just probably implementing some like basically super resolution, like the DLSS stuff. Here's the thing, I'm very disappointed because like frame rate was noticeably missing for a few games, and I'm like, especially the Zelda Link's
Yeah,
Awakening.
the two Zelda games. Like I don't like.
Yeah, like what the
Why
what
not?
the fuck? Like what?
Both of those games had problems running
Yeah,
on
like,
Switch One.
if anything needs it, and I'm a Zelda fan, like I like Link's Awakening was very distracting to me. I wanted to play through that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like a slideshow in spots. So I don't know. It's just Nintendo. Nintendo does whatever they want. They're just like they're like fuck you. Like we're just
Did
doing.
you play Link's
whatever.
Awakening docked or handheld?
Docked.
Okay, I played it docked too. I don't really notice a huge issue. I played it. I was just like, yeah, this, it's fine, or it's what do you expect from a Switch?
Did you play it at release? I haven't gone
Yeah.
back to it. I don't think they
I
patched
reviewed
it
it.
either. Okay. No, it comes to it's intermittent slowdowns. It's kind of like reminiscent of like legit back in those days where
Right.
you would have everything's running fine, and all of a sudden you hit like this random slowdown spot where it's just like everything just is like
yeah, it's whenever there are more than 3 enemies in the screen. They're going for that retro feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Echoes of Wisdom has the same
by
problem. Where
design.
it feels like it just goes down big time.
Yeah, by design. There must be some root code here that it's just so hard to.
I mean, those two games.
Basically.
I imagine those two games. It might be like there might be problems like bringing the frame rate up because it could screw up the game speed itself.
Yeah,
that was always the not Elden Ring, but the Bloodborne lie.
Yeah, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I did see the pictures, and it definitely looks different. I'm not a screenshot person. I'm much more of a show me a trailer. I'll talk about that when we talk about the Kingdom Hearts 4 stuff. But definitely you can tell, and obviously just being able to have other Pokemon in the area where it was basically like they did not exist until you got really close because it was so badly optimized and the frame rate just absolutely chugged that it couldn't. So I guess that's one improvement for the Switch 2. I imagine that some of these things that I wouldn't be surprised if they also tried to do some kind of Switch 2 version with a lot of them. And
yeah, that could be it too, right?
That's why they don't want to give you the full haul. Like I understand like Mario Odyssey, they're just giving you the full thing because there is a new Mario coming. We all know it, right? Whereas like Zelda, hey, we're giving you those pretty amazing new Zeldas. We want you to buy those. So, go get the upgrade and enjoy those again or whatever. Whereas, so we'll see. I imagine that there's going to be more Switch 2 versions that are going to come out that they just haven't announced yet as well. But we talked a lot about Nintendo last week with their, bricking Switch 2, that they can brick your Switch and all that stuff, whatever they, I don't know, you guys did as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that actually happens, because I still feel like there's going to be a lot of, that's them blowing a lot of hot air. Because once you actually do that, I think you open yourself up to, regardless of whether it's in a EULA or not, you open yourself up to lawsuit, and you get enough people to get mad about it. And in certain regions, we know how Europe is and how the UK is. They don't play around. They will make you reverse things, even if you don't like it. So
right.
And all it takes is some of those regions to do it, and it might become a full thing in other regions too. So, but yeah, like let's talk about some of the, I guess, bigger news here when it comes to Sony, which it's really unfortunate because I hate because I don't like I've gotten accusations before of, oh, you guys, especially you almost feel like you're an Xbox bot or whatever. It feels like you guys only talk about Sony when it's something bad. And I'm just like, no, that's not, I don't try to do that. It's just unfortunately the news cycle tends to make itself. So I'm only really talking about what happens in the news. I'm not really trying to go one way or the other. Do I like Game Pass? Yeah, but I also have PS Plus, and if PS Plus was the same thing like Game Pass, I would talk about it the same way. But that's not really what I'm here to say. It's just more of, unfortunately, with Sony, they have great financial results. They've sold 77 million PS5s. They're 1 million away from the PS4 at the same rate. They've sold a bunch of games in a fiscal that had like nothing but Astrobot essentially. Just really great news for them as far as like, we don't have a bunch of these heavy hitters and we're still selling and doing well. Obviously helps that you don't really have a lot of competition right now too, because Nintendo Switch is kind of on the downward trend and their financials show it. Xbox is whatever it is. Basically, as far as the console goes, you're essentially non-existent, and they just raise prices, so even more further non-existent. But then when it comes to their live service side of things, they continue to keep, we talk about Xbox feels like they step on rakes all the time. When it comes to their live service stuff, it feels like Sony just keeps on stepping on rakes. And two of their studios, one of them, which just, it feels like they cannot get out of their own way, in Bungie, and then also Haven Studio, both deliver bad news this week, with Jade Raymond leaving Haven Studio. Fairgames was already delayed till next year. And then Bungie, this is not the first time they've done this, take another artist's work and use those assets in Marathon, and the artist finds out, makes a big stink about it on Twitter, as they should. Then all of a sudden, now they have to take down everything. They do what's supposed to be another gameplay reveal, and they don't show any gameplay, and then they have to wind up taking the whole video down because people just constantly barrage them with, hey, you plagiarized, similar to the drop the price thing that happened with Nintendo when they did the whole doing gameplay reveals of the games. But not a great look as far as your live service outlook, when these are like one of the few ones that you got left in the barrel. Krafty, like, what do you think about, what is your view kind of like on Sony doing this live service thing, where it feels like outside of Helldivers 2, they've kind of failed at every turn? And what do you is this like another nail in the coffin for Bungie? Like, how much longer does Sony give them in this leash of letting them be independent studio?
Yeah, so I think the Bungie so this new Bungie game, a Marathon, I was excited about it at first, and then when I saw the graphics and things like that, it just seemed like, oh, and then when I learned really was an extraction shooter, I'm like, I don't really want that. I know you mentioned Tarkov earlier, and it just I don't want anything to do with these extraction games. They're very sweaty to me. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where they're going. I know a few people that are very into Destiny, and they like Bungie, and they even seem to be like, well, I'm not really into extraction shooters, but I might give them a chance because it's Bungie.
Yeah.
Dude,
It
I
feels
think.
like oh, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it feels like Bungie is going the opposite way people want to. Like Destiny, people kind of enjoy Destiny, but I think if Destiny was like a single player game or like a local co-op or something, the space like that, it would be a lot better. And they're going like, no, we're just gonna make this like really weird copying, the current trend game right now, and it's like, that's okay, I guess. Didn't work the last 4 times, but you guys go ahead.
It definitely feels like they were hoping this would be like the Fortnite of extraction shooters. You know, you have the kind of like coolish art style and all this, and then
I mean,
Fortnite's
yeah.
free though. This is
Yeah.
$40 also. So that's my
Right.
other problem. It's like you want to charge $40 in the market right now where I think
man.
Helldivers 2 was lightning in a bottle as far as that came out. It looked really cool. It was pretty unique. It had a cool art style to it. And this, to me, I'm not a fan of this art style, and I like sci-fi things, but this is just too weird for me. And then it's
the art style reminds me of Rage 2.
Yeah,
And not
that's
in a good way.
But I mean,
this is DOA, I think. I mean, I think this is, I think not as much as like Concord, for instance.
Well, I was gonna say, how long do you think this comes out in bombs?
I feel like this is gonna get delayed now. I feel like you cannot have this come out, even though yes, GTA moved out of the way and you got more open space now in the fall. This game comes out at all this year. The only thing it's going to get marred by, and the problem is that this is a game that it is online. It needs feedback, and the feedback that it's going to get is mostly negative, and you can't have negative feedback when you're trying to release an online game, and you need people to get to it quickly. And when people are playing, you know, I think we both know, all three of us probably know people that have played the beta or doing these alpha tests or whatever, and the feedback from it is not great. It's kind of middling, and it's like that's not the hype you want going into a game's release. I know they can have more, and this is still early builds of the game, but then you throw this really negative thing on top of it. It's not your first time copying somebody else's artwork. It's inexcusable, really, from a big studio like this. I understand that they're saying it's one person that might have done it or whatever, which I think is bullcrap. There's
I can completely buy that. I mean, look at what happened to IGN.
No, but there's and that was the equivalent I was going to make, but this is not the first time. A lot of Bungie devs follow this artist. Like nobody else saw this, you know, this art in here, and nobody thought, yo, maybe it looks too much like that. And then it's like, oh, now we're have to go back and look at all these assets and have to undo all this stuff. And yeah.
So here's the thing. When you work at a big, because I don't know how many employees Bungie has, I'm guessing a lot. And the art team probably is a lot of people.
Right.
I can actually see this being mismanagement, as in like someone did do this and like people just assumed it was fine. And so there might be a process. It could go either way. I see your point, Sean, because it's like people are following her and stuff like that. But it might be one day someone's like, oh yeah, this person has cool art, check it out. And they like, oh yeah, I'm looking for inspiration. So I mean, like, that's what artists will do.
Where's that line of inspiration to direct copying?
Well, and this was clearly direct copying, obviously. Right. So, I mean, maybe someone pulled it in. I'm just trying to give, like, here's the thing. It's shady. That's wrong. They need to totally go back to the drawing board and either pay this individual or, you know, and look at everything. But I hear they've been caught for this in the past with like, they have a problem, right?
Destiny 1, they had this case before, you know. They did it with Destiny 2 as well. So
I think it's just too big of a company. I think that they probably have some person that did something and then they just assumed that it was fine. I don't know if it was like truly malicious. I don't
think it was malicious either. Because like I agree with you. I work at a big company that somebody tells you something and they kind of take your word for it, right? They're going to trust you because they trust you are their employee. They you know, you're doing your job. They trust that you're doing your job. And then later on you find out somebody's stealing time or whatever. And you don't find out until 6 months. I mean, this is an example I'm giving from my own job. They didn't find out the person was stealing time until 6 months to a year later. You know, it's just, there's a lot of trust that goes on at these big companies, right? So I'm not saying it's malicious. I'm saying that there was maybe not like somebody just dumped everything all together and there wasn't like any kind of checking on that. Right.
Well, they're negligent and negligence is no excuse. So they need to be held accountable for this. And it
Oh,
just
for
shows
sure.
it just shows like what else is disorganized, like, you know.
Yeah, we know that their figureheads don't have a great track record. So that's the other issue with Bungie on that, and it sucks for all the people that are just there doing their job, right? And they're just wanting to make a game and be happy about a game, and then like this just absolutely, I believe it when Drayson Schreier is reporting that the entire there's so many people just have no self-esteem. They're just whole emotional in free fall of like having no any kind of hype that they had for the game now is kind of gone because of this, right? And that's why I feel like they're eventually gonna delay it because this is gonna hang over them for a long while. And then when unfortunately we have to lump them together because Bungie was supposed to be the one behind everything else that was going to push all the live service games to be amazing, right? From Sony's end. And then now you have, now I don't know particularly how much Jade Raymond had to do with the game itself. She was the executive producer. How much did she really do with the day-to-day? How much input did she have on how the game wound up being? But apparently there was an early playtest of the game and it's apparently not great. And this may have been the reason why she left the studio because she kind of already see where this is going, right? This game's already been delayed to next year. That wasn't a great sign from the begin with. They apparently dropped the $ from the S as well. I don't know. What did you have any thoughts on this, Krafty? When they did show a trailer at one point for this game during a state of play, did you think anything of this?
I had to look it up. I'm watching the trailer now.
This was the one with the monkey mask people and all. Just
this doesn't look interesting to me at all, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mark. I'm guessing this is not your type of game.
No, definitely.
Like this is just like, crap. I'm blanking on who was the past CEO of Sony. What was his name?
Sean or
the dude that did
all. Oh,
Jim
Ryan.
Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan wanted all these, like, he pushed it, right? He was like, the future is, these
live service,
games,
live service. We gotta have all of our studios making live service games.
And it was too late. And like it's all backfiring now. And like what are they gonna do? I mean, why don't they just freaking is this a live service game or I don't yeah, so like
why don't they just
it's like them almost trying to do like Payday with something else.
Dude, it looks
I mean, Sega canceled their version of that Hyenas game like last year. Like that was like weeks before it's supposed to come out too. Or that was like the open beta or maybe closed beta, but that was like fairly late in the process.
So do you think what do you guys think? Do you think she just said peace out? Because it seems like it's sketchy with what happened. Did she get booted because people don't love it, or she's just like, this is a
I mean, to be fair, she hasn't released the game.
Yeah,
in
that's
forever.
My point.
It's
like she's seen as like this huge figurehead, and it's like, yo, you haven't released a game since like 2014. And like
what did she do?
She's known more for like the Ubisoft.
Yeah, Far Cry and a few Assassin's Creed.
The early Assassin's Creeds, Far Cry, Watch Dogs.
Like the last like legitimate game, and I use that in quotes kind of, she did was Star Wars Battlefront 2.
And
which we all know how well that turned out.
That's not her fault though. She has nothing to do with EA's terrible monetization practices. But yeah.
Well, the last game she did Ubisoft was the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot.
Oh Lord.
But like, yeah, she's seen as this like genius figurehead, or it's like, oh, we got Jade Raymond starting a studio. It's like, well, the last thing she was at Google with Stadia, and she fucked around there for 4 years and did nothing. And then,
to be fair, that's also not her fault.
Hey, she signed with them.
I'm just saying that the Stadia going down is not her fault. Okay, like,
I mean, hell, that's like Robert Bowling when he left, Infinity Ward. He started like 2 or 3 other studios that have made
Yeah.
essentially nothing. But he's put out a game in 2018, which is more than you can say for her.
Right.
So
It's just weird. It's like, okay, did she get the option to just? Did she just say peace out, like you said, because she knows it's gonna go south, or did she just kind of get told they're gonna redo a lot of the game, and she said, "I'm not gonna be here for this because this is gonna take another year or two, and I'm not dedicating my life to that."
It's probably a combination of both. She
Yeah.
probably saw the writing on the wall, and they said, "Hey, you got to shape the game up," and they just kind of mutually agreed to, split ways, and then she'll go off and make another studio that won't make anything for 4 years, and go.
Interesting timing though with this artwork thing. Maybe she's like, I need to. This is. I mean, the whole thing. It's like, yeah. I mean, if she hasn't delivered anything in a while, then what? What?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so weird. Like working with big companies is so you even if you are in like a leadership role, you still have to. Everyone's answering to somebody, right?
Right.
And if they're saying you can do whatever you want, but it needs to be games as a service, live service game or whatever, then you have to do that. And it's just so hard to fit into that mod. Like, what do you do in that box these days? No one really there's all those boxes are kind of filled for the most part, especially at that like AAA. Oh yeah, we're competing with Call of Duty or competing with Fortnite. It's good luck. It's
right.
You're not.
Yeah, it's like you said, Helldivers 2 had a special place because there wasn't games like Helldivers 2 out. It felt almost like a shock back to 360 days. Yeah.
Helldivers 2, it was like at least a unique idea because the first Helldivers are top down. I mean, it is essentially the same game, but vastly different camera perspective, and it has a personality that's like not. It's like Concord and this other thing are just like trying way too hard to be like edgy and cool, and even Marathon. It's like, yo, this is not how you attract people. Does no one remember Poochie from The Simpsons? It's like, come on.
Yeah. But
like I'm looking at the Fair game, it just looks very generic. Yeah, like Payday you mentioned, it just looks like there's no. I love like the way you put it, Mark, is that the personality, right? It just like Helldivers was, hey, this is
it's riffing off Starship Troopers, but it's at least a unique spin off of it, or
and there is it feels fun. Like the whole thing is just they're making a joke out of it. Like they're just like, I'll save democracy, but it's a total just farce of the whole thing, and it's like it's fun. Like I can see how your friends are all want to play together and just oh man, I died, and it's let's just play again. You don't get that because I get it, these games are much more serious or whatever, but then I also understand why Sony has to do it, because they need that recurring income to be able to pay for all of these big AAA games that we all enjoy for them to make, like Ghost of Yotei and whatever. But I don't know what they're going to have to eventually at some point pivot to something.
Right.
And they're going to run out of, they just I mean, that studio is not new. The Team LFG that we talked about last week, that is essentially just the Gummy Bears game now has an official studio with an official name or whatever. The MOBA thing that they're making, we'll see if that, because it's not like there's that many MOBAs out there, so maybe they will strike somewhere with that whenever it is that comes out. And it's like, what are they outside of the Horizon games that we know are still around? Like, what do they have left that hasn't either gone and died already or at the verge of you might as well cancel it? It's like
they're finally gonna make that twisted metal MMO.
Yeah, I do think that because of the fact that it's a franchise and there's people that do love Horizon. It's what the Horizon Zero Dawn
I
has
mean,
sold like 20
the only
million
guy
copies now. Yeah.
the only guy that loves Horizon is Herman Holst.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's from that studio, of course.
Yeah, I
But
mean that's yeah.
They keep trying to push that game, like make it bigger than what I think it is. Like
Yeah.
the Lego thing, I feel like
oh, that
it
Lego thing was so bad.
feels
It's-
Yeah.
forced. Like they
Yeah,
try to make.
that's an
Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like that's like the trying too hard stuff. Like they keep trying to prop up Aloy as this like amazing character, this amazing property. It's like, yo, you have not laid in the groundwork at all.
Yeah.
You made one good game out of 3 or 4.
But all right, we've I think we beat the dead horse enough here. We'll see where Sony goes from here. I wouldn't be surprised if next week there's some big announcement with one or two of these games. And we'll talk about it if it happens. Just one thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about Switch 2. The one thing I have seen with Switch 2, and you mentioned it with the DLSS and everything, is the comparisons. At least right now, obviously, it makes a difference because Switch 2 is new. We'll see once we get to PS6 and whatever the Xbox next thing is, the graphics comparison. But they're showing a bunch of these games that released on PS4 or PS5. And with the DLSS and everything, it's been looking kind of equal or similar to what you can expect on that system. And Red Dead Redemption 2, it's kind of been getting leaked that is another Take-Two Interactive game that is going to join the slew of Take-Two Interactive games that it will be on Switch 2, along with the WWE 2K, NBA 2K, Borderlands 4, and Civ 7. Do you feel like this could be a big test for Switch 2 as far as like, and if it can handle Red Dead, then maybe we can have hope that it will be able to kind of hold its own as technology advances? Or what do you think, Krafty?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Nintendo really, that's not their thing. They don't really care about the technology. I guess the DLSS stuff is only going to help so much. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, basically what you have is like a PS4. I mean, in my opinion, because really at the end of the day, like a PS5 is a 2070. It's essentially like a GTX. It's like a RTX 2070, an actual desktop GPU, whereas the Switch is a 2050 mobile CPU. And so it's just not possible. It's copium to think that it's going to be PS5 like. It's maybe PS4 Pro.
Yeah,
Series
most people
S,
say it's PS4. Yeah.
Yeah, PS4 and PS4
maybe
Pro,
Series
maybe,
S or something.
yeah.
Maybe Series S. But I mean, NVIDIA tech is awesome. I mean, I think NVIDIA tech is awesome. So I think there's some hope there. But yeah, I think here's the thing. I think games kind of like I know friends, the local buddies that play games, they still don't have a PS5 yet because they're like,
Yeah.
I don't see. To me, it looks the same. I'm like, to me, it looks different, a lot different.
Right.
PS4
Yeah.
to PS5 to me, but I'm super into this hobby, right? For just a guy that plays a few games here and there, it's not a big enough bump. So yeah, they could, like the person I was thinking, oh yeah, maybe I want to get a PS5, or no, the Switch is looking good enough for me and it's got these games. I think, yeah. So I think I just don't. It's definitely not touching PS5 though, for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think so either. I do think that like gaming is getting to the point where you have to like literally sit people in front of the PC or in front of the whatever the console is and like really show them how it's different. Because yeah, until I have my 4K TV that I got like last year, I kind of felt the same a bit about like, oh, this does kind of, I don't really see the difference. But when I got the TV that can now do like 120 and does the native 4K and all that stuff, and it's like, oh, I can see how this looks way different. I can see that difference between 30 and 60 a lot easier than I could with how it was in the past. So I get the why you want technology to get better, but I can see the people that like you're still playing on a potato PC. You're playing Fortnite on the potato PC you got, and they don't give a crap because they just want to play Fortnite every day. What reason do they have to switch from the PS4? Right? It still plays the game that they're playing. So until you give somebody a reason to switch to the next thing, they're not going to.
Switch. I see what you did there.
Yes, exactly. We're going to switch to talking about maybe a game that could be happening, and a game that I know you're probably very excited about if it is happening, Mark, because you've been talking about they need to make this game over and over and over. Where is it? Well, according to a Multiverses leaker, Multiverse Susie, this person is saying that according to a data mine of Multiverses, there might be an Injustice 3 in development. Of course, it's also made by NetherRealm, so they would have to have like another team working on it while they're working on whatever Mortal Kombat thing they're also working on. Even though they just finished Mortal Kombat 1, like they just had a definitive edition of that thing come out, so maybe they are. What do you think, Mark? You think it's been almost, by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be 10 years since Injustice 2, so it's been long enough.
Yeah. I don't think the last Mortal Kombat blew anyone's skirt away. Like, it seemed to do okay, but people weren't completely enthusiastic about it. Like, I think they'd gone to the wall like one too many times, and having like a break game or even two, cycling between Injustice and Mortal Kombat's a good idea. And I still think they should do that WWE game.
I do think with if DC is really going to kick it back into gear with the Superman movie coming out, and Rocksteady's over there working on whatever Batman game's going to come out at some point. Hey, if you got Injustice coming and you can pair it up with a DC movie or something, it could sell pretty well. I don't know, Krafty. I don't know if you were into those games or Mortal Kombat or.
No, I was just looking up to see if there was an arcade version of this, and as I remember seeing it looked really cool, the Injustice one. I never got into it. It looked really awesome, the arcade version.
The story mode for those games is cool.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the art in this actually, and I'm not like a huge fighting game guy, but I'm just looking at it on Steam right now. It's $50. It's like kind of expensive.
No, believe me, on Steam it goes on like $6 every like 3 weeks or something. For like
I just wait on it. Right? Just wait on it. It'll show up. Also, should have mentioned Killer Instinct Gold is going to be on Switch Online for the 64. So, if you want to play a fighting game, you can go back.
Feel free.
Yeah. Ubisoft also was in the news here, as they usually tend to be, for bad reasons. Of all the movies that they're going to now make, they're making a Riders Republic movie.
Finally, the story can be told.
That's the movie that we all.
That's a game.
Yes, that's that motorcycle.
I think the BMX game, like the extreme sports game that came out and no one cared about.
That they tried to make a live service thing for a while until it's still going on because Ubisoft supports all their.
It's like that they did that snowboarding game also that came out and no one cared about. I forget the name
Steep
of that
game.
Yeah.
$40. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of this game.
Yeah,
it has the most. I haven't played it, but I heard the song. It has like a folk version of Gangster's Paradise in it.
Yes, it does.
And it's like what
they did it. They put it in one of the trailers. Yes, they did.
Yes.
Look, Ubisoft kind of has a middle of the road track record when it comes to movies. That Assassin's Creed movie from 2016 was
the worst thing ever.
Yeah. The Blood Dragon Netflix show was fine, and Mythic Quest I love. I still am sad that it's gone.
The only good movie they did was that werewolf thing, though.
Yeah, Werewolf Within.
Yeah.
Which is like nobody really knows much about that game. They could just do whatever because it was
right.
I guess Riders Republic could do fine because it doesn't really have a story that you have to be beholden to or whatever, like Assassin's Creed. But
well, they didn't stick to that story either. So,
but we'll see. I mean, they're also making a Just Dance movie, so who knows? Who knows? I mean, at least Watch Dogs kind of has something that could be like interesting as a movie,
yeah.
but like I don't know
Yeah.
what you're doing with Just Dance and Riders Republic.
They'll just be called Step Up, Just Dance.
Are these like straight to Netflix movies, or what were we talking
Pretty
here?
much. I mean,
I don't know. Assassin's Creed came
it's
out in
that,
theaters,
you know.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I'd imagine. Like, I wonder if they're trying to do some kind of deal with somebody because, like, man, I can't imagine those things come out in theaters and people are just flocking to see that.
I don't know. They come out
Yeah.
to like Tubi,
Yeah.
the
the lowest of the streaming services. Like
the free versions.
yeah, freebie.
Yeah, I totally see
But
Watch Dogs
yeah.
as being something cool because like to me that world that they've set up is much cooler than the game, and
Yeah.
I think that's that could be a cool thing, but even then it's kind of generic-ish though too. There's really no it factor with that brand. Like none of these brands have anything like what's up. Like maybe Just Dance is like for like a kids movie or something I could see.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Sorry.
The one they announced and it never actually happened was they were talking about doing the Division movie.
That could be cool.
And I think they announced like Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain were going to be in it. And then of course something happened.
Right. Weren't they going to do a Splinter Cell movie at one point?
I mean, they've always
How
talked
about a
about
game?
that.
What did they do?
Yeah, that is supposedly in development, and we
Yeah.
have no idea what's going on with that. They just keep saying it's in development, and that's it.
Speaking of movies,
Yeah.
they announced they're going to try to do an Expedition 33 movie.
Yes, Game Kitchen is doing that. Yeah.
Do you think it happens at
Yes.
all?
Yep. I do.
Why?
Because the game is already there. Like you're just needing to find the actors and.
Yeah, but look at like how many other movies that they've announced based off games that never actually happen.
It may take a while, but I think with the success of the game, they definitely have a fervor to get that movie made.
Wasn't that Metal Gear Solid movie great?
Well, that was different. How long did it take before that just went from a concept to actually being something that was in production? Like forever. How long did it take for that guy to like?
It's still
Was
not.
That's a movie. Is that like a real live action or is that like an anime or something?
No, okay. The Metal Gear Solid movie, it was supposed to be live action. It was supposed to star Oscar Isaac as Snake. Jordan Vogt Roberts is going to do it, and it was announced like 10 years ago when Oscar Isaac was of age to do it, and it never happened.
Oh yeah, I just looked it up, and it's still in pre-production supposedly.
There was supposed to be a Gears of War movie.
Well, at least that has a director now.
Yeah.
So that David Leitch guy or Leitch or whatever.
Yeah.
They said like the BioShock Netflix series is still in pre-production. It's like
right.
They've been talking about BioShock movie or TV show for like the past decade, almost 2 decades.
To be fair, wasn't like Gore Verbinski supposed to do the BioShock movie? The guy that did that string of terrible video game movies that we don't want to go back to again.
No, Gore Verbinski is like a good, like, he's not my favorite director, but he's done good work. He did all those Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
No, but I mean, he also did like the Blood Rain. Didn't he do like the Blood Rain movie?
No, you're thinking of Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll. Uwe Boll wasn't he supposed to be doing something? But
there has to be a better percentage of video game to TV shows than there is video games to movies.
Yeah, there is.
Because I feel like Fallout's like the grand slam of them, I would feel like. But
Night Prophet says that Clair Obscur story is so good it doesn't need a movie.
Let's be
true,
honest,
he doesn't. Yeah.
There's 3 good video game TV shows: Fallout, Last of Us, and Mortal Kombat Conquest.
I didn't hate Halo. I mean, I know
I didn't either. Yeah,
no,
it wasn't good, but I still
it
was okay.
Halo's too overstuffed. That was the problem, and it had like too many disparate elements. But when it kept the focus on like the Halo, John Spartan, it was fine.
They're supposedly doing, isn't it like animated Assassin's Creed stuff with Netflix? Like that could actually work as a TV show more than a movie.
It could work as a live action TV show, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I mean that's why Netflix is doing something with them, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. But we'll see.
Or if it's Netflix, it'll happen. It'll like last for like 6 episodes, and that's it.
I mean, they just announced a freaking Outrun movie like a couple weeks ago, so like at this point, we're just adapting it all.
That's the thing is like comics are mined out.
Yeah.
So yeah, games are the next obvious step, but it's like you're still not doing most of this stuff. Like they're talking about doing not Split Fiction. I know they announced that as a movie, but the last one,
Takes Two.
Like that movie, and it's like, when did that come out? Or when did that happen? Never. And when will it happen? Never. Like,
well, but they did announce aren't they doing a Split Fiction?
Split Fiction, yeah, they announced Sydney Sweeney is going to be one of the stars, and that might have a shot at coming out, but I still doubt it. They can announce whoever they want, but until they start filming, until they say we're done.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Bay is supposed to be doing the Outrun movie. Like we're getting to that point now. But honestly, going back to Ubisoft for the gaming related subject for a second, they didn't announce exactly which games, but apparently Ubisoft has announced that they are delaying several games, and considering that we know that they pretty much have in coming down the pike, we know what they probably are.
Oh no, guys! It's another Beyond Good and Evil 2 delay.
The game that would is never coming out. Like
what? Right. No, I'm like a certified Ubisoft hater, so I don't even know what they're working on.
So supposedly Splinter Cell,
Far Cry 7 is probably
like 3 Assassin's
obviously
Creed
another
games.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
like that's just because they're just copy. That's why I was disenfranchised with them a long time ago. I think they just copy paste everything. So yeah, obviously another Far Cry. Are they going to do another Star Wars? They're going to get that license maybe?
So supposedly the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake is actually like in production again after they delayed that thing. The Tom Clancy, there's 2 like mobile games for Division and Rainbow Six. And then we don't know if the Splinter Cell game is getting made or not. There's supposedly a Black Flag remake that's happening.
I see that happening. I can, but Far Cry 7 where it's going to be set in Midgar. That'll be cool.
And the Division 3 is also apparently in production. It's after they killed that Division Heartland whatever thing. So
yeah, I must have misunderstood. I thought they were killing that whole franchise. I was like, what are they doing? But it was just they were killing like expansion for 2 or something. Is that what
they killed the expansion for 2 and
it was like a free to play game, like a standalone thing. But the bummer is I like the idea of the Division, but I like the first one. I really dislike the second one.
It breaks the reality for me because all the enemies it's like a realistic kind of setting. And then everything's
but it's like RPG
bullet sponge.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, shoot this guy 500 times.
They're all just wearing like tons of body armor, man. Come on.
Exactly.
So I wish it had like a little bit of it'd be cool if it was almost like a Fallout more setting where you had like a ghoul, like you were shooting ghoul, like something, a little bit of a fantasy twist where
the virus turns them evil and bulletproof.
Yeah, something. Why am I shooting this guy 5,000 times?
Well, you see, he was a garbage man, and he turned evil after the virus.
Right.
Well, another company that seems to can't get out of their own way sometimes, at least with their financial expectations, Square-Enix. They announced, a year ago that they were going to go all multi-platform. It's all about quality over quantity. They're not going to sit there and try to put 6 games out in a 3-month window and hope to God you buy them all with no marketing. they're going to focus on their core franchises now, which means you're going to have casualties when it comes to that. And one of them apparently is the Kingdom Hearts mobile game Missing Link, which has been canceled.
Good.
After, personally for me, I don't care. I don't mind because I'm not going to play the mobile game. I'm going to watch the story cutscenes whenever that,
when it's in Kingdom Hearts 4. It is
exactly. I'm going to watch the movie thing, and that's it. So I think they got the idea as well that people are not going to. And also, I know they have different teams, but like you've already got Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis or whatever. Like, could you possibly sustain another mobile game that is essentially similar to that, where you've got to come out with story content like every week to get people to keep playing that game? That seems like another war of attrition that you don't need to get yourself involved in if you're Square-Enix. Like, so, yeah.
You're not thinking like a businessman. It's so easy. You got to find all 101 Dalmatians, and every few weeks another Dalmatian episode comes out. That's like 3 years of content right there.
Unfortunately, most of the people that like Kingdom Hearts do not give a shit about the Disney stuff. They just want more of the crazy, whatever Nomura comes up in his head, stuff that this keeps making the lore more and more ridiculous every time. And like, you've got to sit there and have a, like, Bible full of stuff to read of figuring out the story. I'm joking. I'm making a joke. You can literally just watch the like cutscene movies of the like.
No, it's like at a certain point, it's just going to be like the Skyrim or Oblivion. Like you have to have like a glossary, in the game.
You're not kidding, but they did release.
It'll be like every like the bolded word is like you can click on it for more knowledge, and it'll be like hearts. That's the bolded word.
They did release screenshots for Kingdom Hearts 4, so we know that game is still in development. Nomura even came out and said that they are hard at work on it. He says that he does only have a few years left to retire, and he does plan on completing this game along with Part 3 of Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy. Krafty, I don't know where you are with the Kingdom Hearts.
I was going to ask both of you. I thought about getting into it, but because I do have some good feelings about Disney from back in the day, but those have kind of been now soured over recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not. I don't think it's my thing. But maybe what do you guys think? Are you guys into this or what?
I'll sum it up. One is the best like innocent game. It's pretty simple compared to the later ones, but I think it's the most like distinct or like just as a general like direct. 2 is more overtly complicated.
But 2 is more fun. 2 is the best version of Kingdom Hearts. You get everything that it makes Kingdom Hearts in one game. Has the best combat, has the best stuff with the Final Fantasy characters in it. The problem is 3 kind of goes off the wall and becomes more about the crazy stuff, and then Disney,
3 is I think 3 has the best combat, just because it's like brain dead simple. You just pop the song.
Well, that's my problem with it. It's like too simple. But so like the issue of 1 is that you go back to 1.
1 is rough because that's an old
it's very rough
game.
Yeah,
like the gummy ship, like it has this like space crap that's like terrible.
Thankfully it's short, but you still have to go through it. And then like there's that hardcore platforming that you have to do in some of those action RPGs where it's like, oh my god, why? But the combat is still fun. It's just not as advanced as 2.
It's more primitive. And 1 also has like problems with like some of the levels are just like terrible.
Yeah.
I feel like there's Kingdom Heart people that's all they play.
Oh my god, yes there is.
They need to be sterilized.
No, there's people that just absolutely they live for this shit, and all these like I said, I'm not a screenshots person, but if they would have released a trailer for I would have watched that like 30 times. So
I'd watch a trailer, but I saw people on Twitter freaking out like, oh my god, it's a playable Mickey. And I'm like,
yeah, Mickey's playable in this one. Yeah.
Okay. Was he not in one of? I thought he would. I thought he was already, but I guess not.
No,
it's like
he
this
joins you
weird.
in 3, but he's not playable. You can't play as him.
Right.
Yeah. So that's I mean, that
I
was
think
technically
like
the next step.
I think
Yeah.
like the core Kingdom Hearts games, you should try them at least maybe one, even if it is like the most primitive. I think it's like a very good. I think one is still the best good like fusion of Disney and Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And it has the most hilarious voice cast because it has Lance Bass voicing Sephiroth, and we all know that's the best voice cast ever.
Yeah.
But two is like, I mean, you like it more, Sean, I guess, but I think two's still good. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. And 3 is, kind of up its own ass. But after 15 years after 2 and 3, what do you expect?
Yeah, I'm excited to see
And
what this
and
build mode or whatever is going to be in
also
4. Yeah.
skip if you do keep getting Kingdom Hearts or try it, skip all the other bullshit.
No, Birth by
All the
Sleep is really good. Don't say that. Birth by Sleep is really good.
yeah, what's the number on it? 2.8.
No,
All this
that's the
dumb.
little short story thing. Birth by Sleep is really good. It's the PSP game, and it has actually some really good combat with good characters. Disagree on that. It has actually some of the best worlds in all of Kingdom Hearts. So,
But
yeah,
skip all the other nonsense. Yeah,
honestly, look, it's one of those like, if you like Disney at all and you like Final Fantasy a lot, the cool thing about the series is you kind of understand what makes Final Fantasy, because there's a lot of that in there, and you kind of realize there's a lot of things from Kingdom Hearts that people like kind of forgot was also in Final Fantasy that doesn't get brought forth in the later games that were happening at that time. And
Aren't these games like super long too? Isn't like
yeah.
They're long.
If you're on PC though, you can go up and cheat.
You can also just like, if you don't give a crap about the story, you can also just skip the story stuff and just go to
what's
the
the
next
point
thing.
of? I guess if the combat's good.
No,
Or whatever.
I mean, I'd say the story is kind of why you're there, or, at least for the
Yeah.
main 3 games.
Right.
But yeah, I just
It goes off the
just,
rails when you start factoring in all the other side things. And
but I just use open cheat engine and give yourself infinite money and health and just go at it.
Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix, $50.
Yeah,
that thing goes
it's
on
insane.
sale for like $20
Yeah.
all the time. Just wait.
Kingdom Hearts, yeah, I'm sure. The Kingdom Hearts series,
Which even includes 3. So just wait. You could. There's one that's called like Kingdom Hearts, like the whole package or something like that, and it's routinely for $20. I would just wait until.
Yeah, it seems like Square does sales like pretty often.
Yeah,
God bless them.
Pretty good.
But I do think that this strategy, which obviously is part of it's being brought into the Switch 2 with Final Fantasy VII Remake coming over there. I do think this strategy benefits them a lot better than just doing everything exclusive with Sony and then regretting that when they don't meet sales expectations. Getting your game out on release on PC on day one would probably also help you.
Yeah.
And not signing an exclusive deal with Epic Games, that might also help you as well. But
want to hear a funny Steam thing real quick?
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 1 is $49.99 on Steam. Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 is $49.38.
Nice.
So it's
really?
cheaper to buy 2 games than to buy the one.
Yeah, than one.
Wow. Okay.
But all right, we're kind of running a little long here. Just to go ahead and get through this here, how we usually end the episode with the games that are coming out this week, which, after you get to Doom, it kind of drops off quite a bit as far as the rest of this month goes. But you do have the Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, which is a new like Fantasy Life game that's coming out in a few days. So there's that. There's that. I feel like I saw a promotion for this constantly when House of the Dragon was on. That Game of Thrones King's Road is also coming out the same day. Japanese Drift Master, which is like the new hit thing on PC for racing games, also coming out on the 21st. Blades of Fire has a demo that you can play on PlayStation and Xbox. It's apparently like construct your own weapons action game that you can play in Monster Train 2, which the first Monster Train was actually pretty good. So go check that out. And this Deliver at All Costs, which I really liked from the Galaxy Showcase. It's being published by Konami. I cannot find a way to freaking contact somebody from Konami to see if I can get a review code for this game. But it looks really cool. It's like a Burnout, but you're delivering stuff.
There are no people at Konami. There's your problem.
That's the main problem.
Yeah, aren't they making like just gambling machines or whatever?
Yeah, it's crazy like how they've just gotten all of a sudden back into like publishing games, and it's like, all right, we're starting to make a difference here again. Konami, good job. And then of course the Onimusha 2 Summarized Destiny, the Onimusha 2 remaster, also comes out on the 23rd. So there's some decent stuff coming this week. If you want to go check that out, of course you could still just go play Doom, The Dark Ages, or Clair Obscur or something else. But Krafty, before we get out of here, anything else you want to say about the Video Game Happy Hour, where they can find you, anything else?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Sean and Marc. It was fun chatting about games with you guys. Definitely, if you're interested in a less informative video game podcast, check us out. We go off the rails. We talk about like our favorite fast food and things like that at times. But we also get serious about games too. We are serious about games, but we like to joke around a lot. But mostly, yeah, check us. Come visit our Discord and say hi and chat about some games. You can find the Discord by going to videogamehappyhour.com. Or if you're lazy like me, you can also type in vghh.net and find all of our socials. We have YouTube, and you can find us on YouTube Video Game Happy Hour, and find our podcast anywhere podcasts are available too. So whatever your preference is, we can find us there.
All right, well, for sure, go check out Video Game Happy Hour. Awesome show from Krafty and the guys. I did already put all the links in the description, so anybody that's like listening or watching later, you can go check it out. Definitely go check out the Discord community. They have some awesome folks that are all talking about games here. So, and thank you to everybody that watched live. City Clicker, Night Prophet, all you guys, thank you. Appreciate y'all. GMM Cube, thanks. And yeah, that's it for the show today. If you did enjoy what we do here, you can go check us out, W10 Network, wherever those are, on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. You get all of our, not just what we do, but the other shows talking about movies or anime or whatever. Or you can just go find us on podcasts. Just find Video Games to the Max there, and anytime we do a show, you subscribe. You get when it drops in the feed. So until next week, see you later, everybody.
Later.
Later.